Brothers and sisters, what's popping? Yeah, we getting it in late night. Get all this bullshit out the way. Yeah, getting it in late night. It's time. We pull up a little picture. One second. My okay. What? Let me just see something real quick. Nope. Nope. What about this? I got a picture I'm trying to pull up. Let me see if it's gonna be the right one. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull up the picture of the wellness thing right now. I don't know why it's acting like a buster. But anyhow, check me out. Health is wealth. Now I know a lot of people is like they say that all the time. It sounds like some cliche nonsense, but really, your health is your wealth. And I want you to really to give me a second, man, because it's got to be able to. I got to be able to pull this up. Window. Oh, what the fudge? See, this be that bull stuff I be talking about right here. I'm just trying to see why. I don't know why it's not sharing the preview photo. That's kind of weird. That's not making me happy. Anyhow, I'm not even going to get upset about it. I'm going to look at the 8 dimensions and I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to name them all off. This is their so called dimensions of wellness. I just want to speak about it because I feel like it's important for people to know where I'm coming from, or at least to have a basis of what we're going to speak about. So the first one is emotional, then physical, then social, then occupational, then financial, then environmental, then spiritual, then intellectual. And you could put that in whatever order you want to, but the way they have it laid out is if this is how they're structured in their minds. Right on? I feel like your mind is just as important, if not more important than your heart. Right on? Like as far as functionality and you actually being able to do things. Neither here nor there. The reason why we're talking about this because my brother Brendan Johnson, he asked me to speak on this, people's health right now, and he was talking about obesity and stuff like that, and I just had to, chime in as he was saying it, and like, obesity is a body fat percentage, not a body type, and so you can be skinny and be relatively obese. You could look skinny and have over 40% body fat, and you would technically be obese. There's a bunch of people out there running around like that who are skinny fat, as people call them. And so when you have that kind of dynamic, you have to be aware of it. You know what I mean? You can't not be aware of that. You have to know that's what it is. So let's talk about the base level. When you look at somebody and you see if they're physically fit or not, or if they look like they used to be an athlete or anything like that, right? You look for all the things. Okay. Your physical health is a byproduct of your spiritual, environmental, and your intellectual health. Not so much your emotional health. Right on? And I'm gonna cut into that. Because the environment you're in dictates what your diet is, what you eat. So that's going to impact your physical, which is going to impact your spiritual. Now, again, your environment is going to dictate what sort of spirituality you're probably taught. Right on? Now, I'm going to get into the occupational and the financial and the social in a moment, but I want people to understand the things that affect you physically are the things that are external to you most of the time, not your internal things or not things that you're a part of. Um, Most people don't go down to their House of Representatives and say their two pennies. So these busters get to do whatever they want to do. Anyhow, your environment matters a lot to your physical health. Your environment can totally change or have, it can dictate your emotional health. It can dictate your intellectual health because the environment you're raised in and the exposure that you get will dictate your level of knowledge or worldly information. That's a fact. So when I look at it again, and I'm just giving it my breakdown, right? And I don't know why it won't let me, you know, share the daggone screen. You know, it is what it is. I'm not gonna get bent out of shape about it because I like again, I'm looking at it and I know what I'm reading, and it matters that I'm at least doing this part, and I know what I want to say to my people, which is treat your health of all these things. So I would say take care of your environment. Your immediate environment is your home, where you live. So if everything outside of your home is tumultuous and chaotic or just in some sort of disarray, disheveled, right? A disorder, whatever that may be, you can you can you can still impact your own health, right on, your mind health for sure, by how your environment is, and then your spiritual health along with that. Imagine being a slave and being in a slave's environment. How high do you think your spiritual health is going to be if you're a slave? Right on. They didn't let slaves read or write or practice any form of education. So your intellectual health is going to be low. You feel me? That's going to impact your emotional health. Right. Boom. Slaves weren't always taken care of. So their physical health for sure was not. Listen, they would rather let a slave die than give them basic treatment and keep them alive. They'd rather just get another slave. That's how cold-blooded a lot of these dudes were. They don't talk about that because there weren't no YouTube channels, right on? There weren't no Twitters, there weren't no Instagrams, there weren't no Facebook Lives, there weren't no none of that. So when you have people who will say, "Oh, this is the worst it's ever been," that's relative to the situation and what we have available. Still, now let's break into some of this other stuff about how health is wealth, right? And we'll get into what the real wealth is. Every moment you live on this earth, there is an innumerable value to it. Right. You can't put a price on it. Because when this shit is over, it's over. So you have to have enough wherewithal to get that first off. And then you have to act on it actively. Can't just be something that's in your mind. So when we have people who like literally be tripping and don't get it, it's like, bruh, you're literally out your gourd. And it's not because they're out their gourd that I'm saying this. I'm saying this because it's like, yo, why are we not all looking at this from like a holistic point of view? You should want to have a powerful environment that can imbue, induce, right, and invite a powerful a wellness. Because once your environment is well, every other thing is going to come into line with that. Now let's talk about your financial wellness and your occupational and your social wellness. Having a family, unless you are an orphan or something like that, most people have a family. So social wellness is dictate again upon environment. If you're raised in a righteous environment, your social wellness will be covered. Occupational, we're going to talk about environment too, and we don't have to get too far in the past. Let's just dial it back 30 years ago. People travel around the U.S. who were Americans. I'm not even going to bring up non-Americans. Americans travel around the U.S. a lot, but way more now do they travel than they did back then. And there's and and they have the failure mentality. Right on. It's not like somebody who moved around all the time when they were a child because their parents were in the military or that's just the way that they lived. Um, these are people who literally couldn't cut the mustard in one place, tucked tail, ran somewhere else. See, when that sort of weak mentality, again, they're not well in their mind. They can't be. Right on? Quitters never prosper, y'all. Just like a cheater doesn't, a quitter does not prosper. You can't. It's impossible to prosper and quit. Right on? The necessary act of violence of chewing, right? You feel me? And then you, right? And then you can swallow your food, right? After you chew it down. That act of violence is a necessary progressive step to live. If you don't do it, you will die. Facts. You'll die sooner than you would have died. Let's say it like that because everybody has an expiration date. So when you have people who, again, they're not mentally well, right on? They're intellectually, is your intellectuals is your mentals. So they're not mentally well because their environment is ran down. Now let's talk about their pockets. People who connect money and happiness are some of the most unhappy people on the earth. You cannot conflate the two things. You can't conflate an experience that didn't cost you any money to value. Like there's no value you can put on it. Word? None. One of the greatest days I ever had, man, with my father, rest his soul, right across the street from at the park here, man. We went, bought a couple of cold cuts, had some beers, rode a nice little J, and we just sat there and kicked it and talked about life. We had a beautiful day, had the dominoes and the cards and stuff. We just had a beautiful time. It was a lovely day, y'all. It was a beautiful day. You know, I didn't have to go and spend a bunch of money to do that, right? We might have spent $30 altogether to do all that for two people to sit, drink, right on, and cajole with one another, word, and to be with one another in a fellowship. That's how you're supposed to be. But again, that's my social. That's the social wellness. See, I'm not saying that I'm wealthy in wellness, but I do my best to take care of myself. And yeah, I sip on a little bit here and there, but my father said to drink and be merry. He didn't say drink and get drunk. He said drink and be merry. So within good taste, I can indulge on the daily if I like, so long as it's within good taste. Right on? If you drink too much water, you can drown yourself and kill yourself on accident. Right on? Through overhydration. Right. So too much of anything is bad for you. But are you going to stop drinking water just because you could potentially overhydrate if you really get on some gluttonous nonsense? Probably not, because you probably don't have those tendencies. Now, that being said, a person's finances, a person who connects their money to their overall happiness will never really be happy. You can't be, because you can be rich in other commodities that don't have a fiat value other than the one that everybody agrees to. And that value is liable to change any day. People used to kill for salt. Let's stop it. People killed for salt. The spice wars was fought over spices. There was a time when shit like a cinnamon was seen as almost valuable as silver and gold. Word? Because you just couldn't get it like that. Like, y'all need to understand, mass production has convoluted people's mindset and their understanding of how things actually truly work. Again, now let's talk about this physical part, right? Because that goes into what you eat, what you drink, what you do. If you don't eat any vegetables It's hard for me to believe, even if you're ripped up with all kinds of muscles, it's hard for me to believe that you're healthy. You don't eat vegetables. You don't eat one of the most basic things that God blessed the earth with. That's how I know there's something. Again, that person is probably mentally messed up, socially messed up, and the environment that they was in or have been in, right? Like let's say a person's homeless, right? Vegetables and fruit are not always available, even when you go to the food banks. Now, typically they have stuff like that, but folks, people be having a acquired taste. I don't want to get mad at somebody who's homeless for having a peculiar taste, and especially if somebody has an allergen, one that they're deathly allergic. I have even less of an issue with them being picky or what seems to be picky or choosy. They're being wise enough to not indulge in something that could bring them harm. Or another person is like they're being wise enough to not take something that they know that they're not, number one, not going to enjoy. Number two, fuck around and not even eat and just throw it away. Come on now. Right. That's just dishonorable. That defeats the whole purpose of being grateful. So in order to not do that, they bypass. But I'm saying a person should healthily indulge. And I'm not talking about just eating bread. Bread is a vegetable. Grains are vegetables. Yes, it is. That's why you can eat bread and fucking live, nigga. Right. It'll sustain you for however long you have bread. It will keep you alive. I promise you that. Bread is a vegetable. Well, it's a cooked vegetable, right? Broken down and then, alchemically processed to turn from one form to another. From what we call fine flour or flour, threshed flour, right? The threshed grain. And then now from the threshed grain to a fine flour. Now from a fine flour, admixture of oil or water or both, and the proper kneading, right on. And then we're talking about, that's right. That's right. That's what we're talking about. A piece of bread, right? It's veggie. So when people don't even understand things like that, but again, that can't be the only vegetable you eat. You got to be eating all the vegetables everything that tastes good to you, you should eat, number one. And then number two, all the things that you can abide by eating. Like, you're like, I'll eat it if it's there. You got to eat that stuff. You got to be eating, as they told me as a little boy growing up, you got to be eating a rainbow of stuff damn near daily. That's the best way to do it. Eat some red stuff, some green stuff, some purple stuff, some blue stuff, some yellow stuff, some red stuff, some orange stuff. Right? Just cover all those colors. Get them all. Get them all. You cannot go wrong eating fruits and vegetables, eating herbs. Sweet herbs are not fruit. You can't go wrong eating sweet herbs and vegetables and non. So you can't go wrong with eating sweet herbs and non-sweet herbs. You can't go wrong with eating sweet fruits and non-sweet fruits. You can't unless you're allergic to something. That's the only way. And then, you asked out. You can't eat that. Don't eat that. I'm not saying nothing impossible. Now let's talk about, again, this environmental health is so important. It's the one thing that most people probably really don't understand. If you're going home every day, and every day you got to get into a fist fight at the house, that's not a good environment. Hold on. If your environment doesn't provide financial opportunities on the modern earth, that's not a good environment. Because the natural desire to have things will be upon a person. You're not wanting things is not a form of jealousy. Desire is not a form of jealousy. Only when you want what someone else has are you jealous. I'm talking about that actual thing that they have and possess at that moment. Not you saying, oh man, he got a Lamborghini. I'm going to get one day. And I ain't going to let nothing stop me. If that's your mindset, you're not jealous. As long as you ain't saying no whack shit like, man, fuck that nigga and that Lamborghini. Nigga, fuck him. I'm going to get one. That's whack. You feel me? You should be telling yourself, there ain't nothing that special or unique about this individual that I can't procure the same thing. I'm going to have that. and I'm going to do what I have to do, the righteous, by righteous means, to have it. All these people who built their houses on blood is going down. Who told everybody that the Ricos was coming years ago? I didn't want these dudes to get caught up. I wanted these dudes to relax and fall back. But I guess they didn't get the message. They can thank YouTube for the friendly shadow ban I've been under for the last 10 years. That's all to the good. I'm not mad about it. I'm not sad about it. I'm not upset about it. I just believe that it's highly unfortunate that they would make it so difficult for my channel to have any sort of attraction. And it's not about how often you do it, y'all, because there was a time when I did this shit damn near daily. Word. And I did everything I could do. I tagged certain stuff. I mean, I did everything I could do to naturally cultivate a righteous audience. So I know for a fact, and it's not what I'm saying, because I listen to people who literally make 0% sense, and they've got hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, and I'm like, I'll eat this person alive in an organized debate. I'll literally crush every one of their fucking points and do them wrong. But when you live in a world where, again, the environment dictates all those things, I can't be upset because the environment doesn't allow for me to be where I feel like I should or could be. I have to put myself in position to make that happen. And by being patient enough to allow these things to manifest and percolate, they will eventually take place. Not because I say they will, but because I'm going to do the work that allows for it to happen. One of the greatest things a person could ever do for themselves is never give up and never surrender. And that's part of the mental and physical and spiritual. That has nothing to do, it's kind of emotional, but not really. Right on? See, your feelings are not, they're not physical. Your emotions are not a physical thing. They might give you a physical sensation based on the chemicals being released through your body, but they're not an actual physical frequency. Right on? Like, because it's a frequency, but it's not unique to any one of us. Joy is a frequency that can inhabit any individual. Right on? It doesn't matter if it's a person or a gnat. You get me? Joy can come into anything. So that frequency is not a base physical thing, is what I'm trying to say. Word? It's a it's inter it's they're actually almost omnipotent forces. Just the only way I can say it. Have you ever been somewhere where you couldn't get angry? Where it was like the energy was so right, you couldn't even manifest anger? It's like that. Only, the opposite. Or I guess that thing, depending on how you stand on that spectrum or how you feel about that. But the idea of it being that feeling upset is not a tangible, you can't touch upset. You can't touch joy. You can't touch anger. You can't touch kindness. Right on? Word? They're not physical things. So again, a person has to have a strong mind. They have to be intellectually healthy to understand these things. And some people are mentally obese. Some people are spiritually obese. Some people are financially obese. Some people are occupationally obese, socially obese, right? Outside of the physical thing. Like, we got to understand that some people are spiritually emaciated, intellectually emaciated, emotionally emaciated, environmentally emaciated, financially emaciated, occupationally emaciated, socially emaciated, right? So you have to recognize that those things all work, all those different ways you can see it, it works in different mediums. It's not just one way. Right on? Being overweight doesn't mean out of shape. Most people who play football are overweight. Most people who play football are not out of shape. Most offensive linemen are more fit than a regular civilian running around. Whether they're more athletic than you is a whole other thing. But for sure, most offensive linemen are more fit than regular people who run around. Their job is to be physical all day. They have to have a level of fitness. That being said, it's difficult for me to believe that people don't understand this basic concept. Excuse me. It's just difficult. And before I get ready to roll out the next few minutes, I just got to say this. It's always an honor and a pleasure just to have these small conversations with the people, just so that way they can get like, okay, I see what he's saying. I see what he's saying. Your health is your wealth, y'all. If you are financially healthy, right on, environmentally healthy, spiritually healthy, intellectually healthy, emotionally healthy, physically healthy, socially healthy, and occupationally healthy, there's a chance that you have there's a wealth that you have to you that goes beyond finances. It goes beyond any one of these things. They're all working together to get you to the closest state of being in the closest state of perfection that you can be in. The closest state of being one with yourself, right? And that's the beauty of knowing what you're looking for and understanding what it is that you're trying to do. There's a lot of people who are going to find out the very hard way just how difficult life really is. You know, looks like the shutdown has no end in sight. Democratic governors just swept across the whole country. You know, so a bunch of Democratic winners. It's just going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for me to believe that anything is going to change anytime soon. Difficult. They want people to be acting a fool out here. They win like that. But I have to ask everybody, don't y'all think it's kind of weird that we have people amongst us, we have black people who be like, oh, all I'm worried about is my money, but don't have a dollar to their name. Isn't it always, like I always thought that was weird when a nigga didn't have no money and he was trying to call somebody else broke. Like I always, even to this day, I think that's weird. I think it's weird when rich niggas tell you not to pocket watch and then they call you broke. How the fuck you know I'm broke? You could say I have less money than you, and that's an accurate statement. That doesn't mean I'm broke. Word? Like, I mean, what the fuck? But again, they're not pocket watching when they call you broke. But you're pocket watching if you say whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, they clocking. It's just, this shit is just crazy. I mean, you can't win for losing. You can't. Not with these niggas. They too ignorant. They're just way too ignorant about it. Your health is your wealth. If you're healthy in more than one range, there's a good chance that when bad times come, and they will, you're going to survive. Because you're going to have more than one avenue of health to lean on. May the Most High God continue to bless y'all in your understanding and your growth. May He continue to build you up as the people and the followers that I know that you are, that the vassals and the supplicants that I know that we all are to the Most High God. A servant to His will and a slave to the power. Everyone is a slave to his power. They can't help but to be. Right on? You have to eat, don't you? Right? See what I'm saying? He created those things like that. So that way, no matter how great or magnificent or uniquely different someone is than everyone else, they still have to do base level things that make them normal. Right. Only something abnormal could not have to indulge as a mere moral does. But that's why the Most High God is so great, is that He blessed it. He blessed it. He made it to where there's always a way for something to happen. Right on? So yeah, they're a villain, but they can't even eat peanuts. Right? Or any kind of tree nut or ground nut. It'll take them out. Right. God has a way of stymieing certain individuals who would do harm to the earth. I'm sure there were plenty clans of giants that were allergic, deathly allergic to things that people brought to them and killed them all off with without ever having to raise their hands to them. Is that evil? Sure. Is it wicked? Maybe. Did it happen? You betcha. I'm sure it did. The same way that we know that the giants went and forced their way onto earthly women and smaller Gentiles and procreated and made sure that their progeny were bred into smaller populaces. And from time to time, one of them will sprout up and get really big and really tall, but they did a really good job blending in. See what I'm saying? It's like that. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, there weren't whole. I'm not going to sit here and act like the children of Israel didn't wipe out whole clans of giants, because they did. Yeah, people who look like me were out there touching up giants and making them, fall by the wayside. Yeah, cut his head off too. Make sure he's all the way dead. Yeah, bury his body way down there so can't no sorcerer bring this nigga back. What do you think people were doing back then? Why do you think, okay, if the Bible talks about necromancy, you don't think anybody ever tried to bring back, I don't know, a whole giant? People have no idea what they're dealing with. They have no idea. None. And we're dealing with individuals who are literally unhealthy in all these ranges and aspects. So therefore, they have no wealth. They're impoverished in their health. And that is sad, sickening. Like Pinky said to DW, get it together, baby. I mean that. I mean that. Get it together, my people. Get your mind right first. If you can really help you get your environment right, if there's anything in the environment that's keeping you from being the best person you can be, make your environment right. It's going to make you feel better spiritually. And then from the environment, make sure that your finances is good. You don't have to be great, but good enough to do what you need to do. Make sure that your occupation isn't bringing you stress. Make sure that socially you are doing what you need to do to maintain the most important relationships that you've cultivated. Stay physically active. Be emotionally invested in everything that you do to the degree that you do it the best you can. And that's all the emotions you need. Is I'm gonna do my best. You can't put your hand on best or worst. They're not tangible. Right. There are frequencies that are without that are activated within that we may act upon them. No different than anger or love. May the Most High God continue to bless y'all, man. May He continue to bless me. May He continue to grow our minds. May He continue to give us all the things that we need. May we continue as people to get better and do what we need to do so that way we can live and live a full life, not a half life or a part life. And as I get ready to head out, I just have to say, man, it has been an honor and a blessing. It's been a pleasure, my people. Get out of your own way. Just get out of your own way and let righteousness be in your life. Don't be afraid to turn from your wicked ways. Don't be afraid to leave people who are wicked behind. Right on? Live your life. God will bless it. May you be intellectually, spiritually, environmentally, financially, occupationally, socially, physically. You understand? Blessed. May you really be blessed. Brothers and sisters, I salute you. I salute you once more. I salute you one more time. Man, we have some stuff to cover in this scripture. About to start going down, about to get real interesting. About to start talking about how the Gentiles are not people and how their terms of subhuman. Again, we're going to talk about Australopithecus, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens sapien, Cro-Magnon, Denisovans, right? And a few of the other lesser known groups. We want to talk about all of them so that way people can get an understanding that it wasn't just one group of individuals, of freaks and natures that came up upon the earth. It was a whole bunch of them. And some of them pulsed out in hordes. Neither here nor there. May tomorrow be better than today, tonight, and may your next week truly be better than your last. Man, I love y'all. Do right, and do right some more. May you continue to understand, brothers and sisters, that your health is truly your wealth. And the only person that can really impact it and take it away is you.